What is up, guys? Wrestling Premiere is here. With me making the original belt collector video, I decided to follow up with this. Well, at least that's what I wrote in May of 2021. You see, I kept this video on the back burner. I did not even think about it until earlier this week. I thought, hey, let's go back to TNA. Let's finish the Kurt Angle thing that I was doing so it could lead up to the whole main event Mafia video. That's going to be one hell of a challenge. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, Sting and Kurt Angle are two of the greatest wrestlers in history. Sting had this unparalleled charisma to him. For an entire year, he barely spoke and was just lurking, yet was getting awesome reactions from the fans. Kurt Angle, he is damn near untouchable in technical wrestling. His in-ring prowess is superb and his comedic timing is impeccable. With the mic skills being highly rated and his wrestling skills being out of this world, you get somebody who ranks top 10 in my eyes. This feud itself is sort of polarizing. Some people didn't really like it that much, and I don't really hear much talk about it. I will say, though, that Kurt Angle was one hell of an entertainer during this run. I was laughing my ass off during a bunch of his segments. You know, I came off as a whiny crybaby who was self-absorbed, very entitled, selfish, egotistical, all kinds of things. So let's get into a feud that featured a top 10 NFL draft player, an upset for the ages, some comedy promos, and of course, excellent wrestling matches. On the August 16th, 2007 episode of Impact, Kurt Angle came out to celebrate his title victory. He even had a red carpet in anticipation of the ceremony that went by the name of Angle Awards. It was all fun for Nash, the Angles, and the trademark, who was there because he made Angle's music. But then Jim Cornette crashed the party. He was all fed up with this and told Angle that he's got to defend all three titles at no surrender. He's got to defend the X Division title against Black Machismo, the World title against Abyss or Christian Cage, and he's got to find a tag team partner because he's facing Team Pac-Man, the greatest tag team. He threw a fit and was ready to put his hands on Cornette, but Matt Morgan put a stop to this. Later that night, the Olympic hero made a sudden run-in and attacked the new #1 contender, Abyss. He was relentless on the attack, and all he was focused on was inflicting damage. Repeated chair shots, some boosts from the fans, and at one point Karen was even involved. But an angry Jim Cornette popped up and announced that he's facing the Steiners next week, and if they beat him, then Karen has to stand in the ring for 5 minutes with them. Why her, though? The TNA champion of champions was intense. He was outraged at the decision. The wife was extremely reluctant towards this situation and did the most random scream that got me deaf. However, Angle assured her that he's gonna do something about this before saying, quote, "I need a divorce." About his attempt to change Cornette's mind, yeah, it was bad. He refused to budge, and Karen's ego is of course fragile. The main event for Kurt was clearly an uphill battle. I mean, he had to deal with two Steiners. But luck was on his side, and Team 3D made an interference. The ref didn't notice any of this, leading to Kurt Angle's victory. So no 5 minutes. Karen was more than thankful of this and told him to stay put because she was going to take care of things. And what she meant by this was paying Samoa Joe of all people a visit. You see, there was a few choices for Angle's partner at No Surrender. One of those people just so happened to be Samoa Joe. Backcap Joe quickly threatened her and told her to make it quick. And Karen claimed that they were dividing two of the most impressive wrestlers in the world. You know, they're preventing each other from teaming up. He agreed with her statements. He wanted to be Angle's partner. Why? So he could dismember him, and he also held her responsible for what's to come. Jeremy Borash was clearly loving what he saw, and after the commercial, she approached Christian Cage. He's like, "Are you lost? The strip club is down the street." Wow. Christian had no damn mercy here. Since the Instant Classic was in it for himself, he knew that Kurt Angle and his wife were lying. AJ Styles, though, was pretty damn naive. He tried to make it seem like he wasn't desperate for a title shot, but he clearly was. Man even said that she wants him. All that was left now was one man, Sting. She said that he could change this world for the children, so he's like, "How about you change your dress?" Sting ended up winning the match, and funny enough, Karen was the same one who handed the title to him. All of a sudden, though, Team Pac-Man made an attack, and Jones even branded Sting. Angle took notice, and for all of 20 seconds was a babyface. Now, Sting taking the title didn't mean that he suddenly found any sort of trust in Kurt Angle. He affirmed the statement and said that Angle's concern should be on whether or not he, Sting, has his back tonight, because he was calling the shots. He told Angle that his wife better stay in the back, and she wasn't really okay with this. I wouldn't even say really, because she was ready to do something about it. Fast forward to the end of the night, Angle lost to his pay-per-view opponent. Add to that, Karen violated the agreement, and so Kurt sent her to the back. Team Pac-Man tried making an attempt once more, and this time around, they left their mark on Kurt Angle, the champion of champions. With regards to No Surrender, yeah, Kurt Angle had a night that 2003 Triple H could only dream of. Barring the results, of course. First up, he faced Team Pac-Man, aka Ron the Truth, alone in the ring, with Jones standing on the apron. I love how they were hyping him up with that Italian charm, making him seem like he was going to be a threat, but the man couldn't wrestle even if he wanted to. It's all because of the whole NFL issue and all that, but it kind of screwed them over. Also, there was no dissension between Angle and Sting until Karen got involved. What this meant was things took a 180. She made it seem like Sting struck her at one point. Angle believed her, and just as Pac-Man is going to enter the match, Sting takes an Angle slam. He's back, Mr. Pac-Man Jones. That sounds stupid. Went for the cover, and if you've seen this image without any idea, you'd think he did the work. Turns out, it was like a school project, and it was Truth who did 99% of the work. So now he's fuming. Nash told him to get it straight ahead of his other matches, and this is when Sting barged in and told him what's up. Cornette ran in and solved the issue by getting rid of him and Karen. About a half hour later, it was time for match number 2, the X Division Championship. Black Machismo Jay Lethal was the challenger. Heading into it, Lethal was not in form. Christopher Daniels had just handed him an L on Impact, and this is often regarded as one of those big moments from this era of TNA. Initially, Lethal tried taking advantage with his speed and high-flying skills, but the Olympic hero quickly put a stop to it and kept him grounded. The champion of champions slowed down the pace, and the commentary believed that Angle was taking this match too seriously, despite his upcoming encounter with Abyss. It took him a while to find a way to stop this onslaught, but even then, Angle also connected with a clothesline. The Olympic Slam was countered into a DDT, and this almost led to a new champion. Back and forth action from both men, impactful moves such as the belly-to-belly, a roll-up that was nearly disastrous, but then Angle went for the Germans. He was in the zone, but from out of nowhere, there's a lethal combination. He successfully hit the elbow, but again, Kurt Angle kicked out. This man had infinite stamina or something at this point, because a few seconds later, there he was hitting yet another German suplex. Little counters lead to a roll-up from Lethal. 1, 2, 3, new champion. Kurt Angle, the world-renowned Olympic hero, lost to Black Machismo Jay Lethal. It's one of the biggest upsets in TNA history. Add to that, Kurt Angle technically lost to him clean. And it really helped him get people talking and be like, hey, this guy actually beat Kurt Angle. Makes him look like a bigger deal. And the match itself was good as hell. I mean, it's Kurt Angle 2007. He was going to have a good match with a fan from the crowd if it were to come down to that. In storyline, it seemed to foreshadow disaster for Kurt. He entered the arena with 3 titles, and now he's only got 1. Add to that, he was worn down and beaten ahead of his match with Abyss of all people. The ex-champion, well, the ex-champions was enraged, and to make matters worse, tensions arose with Kevin Nash. He told him to stay focused or he's gonna lose everything, and so he's like, screw you. Compared to the other guys, Abyss proved to be a much challenging opponent, mostly because of his size. Even Angle knew this was hell, and his game plan was to isolate the knee. This was after his idea of winning a fist fight went about as well as his final match 12 years later. The fans tried rallying on the challenger. The attack on the leg lasted for a pretty long time, and at this point, Angle was 100% focused. Despite the onslaught, Abyss was still doing work. He hit the shock treatment for a near fall, and because his pace wasn't at full speed, this caused Angle to take back control. He found his form, hit the Olympic Slam, but it was kicked out of. And goes to the ankle lock, and the challenger though escaped and successfully hit the choke slam. As a result of this, Kurt Angle went back to targeting that leg, and he hit the moonsault. He took it a step further in targeting the ankle, but he got too ambitious and walked into the black hole slam. It didn't matter though, because Abyss was locked in the ankle lock. The man held on tight like his life depended on it. His title certainly did, and he won it. Good match, once again. I prefer the Kurt Angle debut match where they delivered on television, but this wasn't bad. Also, it's cool to see a heel actually win clean. You know, I love seeing that every once in a while. Kicking off Impact that week, Kurt Angle was being introduced by his wife when Sting decided to steal his entrance. He admitted that he didn't blame Kurt for Sunday. As for Karen, he wanted her to admit the truth. Karen continued playing the victim card, and all of a sudden, the world champion emerged and blasted Sting with a chair. The attack continued inside the ring where Sting took a handcuffed beat down, and Kurt still believed his wife and said that at Bound for Glory in Atlanta, he's going to embarrass him. To end insult to injury, he asked Karen to slap him. All this did was piss off Sting, who spat at her. He did this to Kurt as well and was left laying. In other places, Kurt Angle finally apologized to Dr. Nash. He was somewhat weirded out by the hug, but all was good. They explained what they did last week to Sting, but he had experience with the Icon. He reminded him of what happened back in '97, and the Angles started blaming each other over what went down. The best part, though, was when Nash said that Karen was allegedly slapped by Sting. As a result of Nash's eye-opening speech, Angle told her to apologize. The man was so worried and he even asked Kevin to say a prayer with him. Her apology sounded pretty damn genuine. She did this again in the match, spin it around and make it about herself. Hell, at one point she's like, it was 1 slap, maybe 3, maybe 4. Now, Sting wasn't gullible like his old self. He wasn't going to trust Kurt Angle and even said that the letter that he sent her was a restraining order. This would greatly change the complexion of the title match in Atlanta. Angle was seething, raging at what had transpired, and his wife was arrested for violating the restraining order. Simple as that. On the first 2-hour Impact episode, Kurt Angle preferred to talk to Sting from the big screen. Oh, this is my reaction when Impact Plus adds the 2008-2014 episodes. The reason why the champion wasn't in the Impact Zone was to pay a visit to a certain somebody, Sting's son. One question on Kurt's mind was, is Sting's son gonna grow up and slap women? And Sting started getting desperate and was eagerly trying to find a way to directly contact Kurt Angle. He threatened his Bound for Glory opponent. Sting tried getting the police involved, but what's there to do? And plus, if we look at it much deeper, Angle would kick their asses as well. So he barged into Jim Cornette's office. Kurt was giving better commentary than Joe Buck here. Sting was flipping over tables and it was intense. At the end of the night, Angle revealed that the reason why he was doing all of this was because he wanted the old Sting. Oh, and it's because he slapped his wife. He confronted Sting's son, was slammed by the door, and left everybody in the dark over what's to come. So basically, Angle's butt hurt over something that didn't happen. So he decides to spend several hours in the sun just to beat up a kid. Impact Plus does not have the episode, I don't know why. But anyways, Kurt Angle came out to the arena donning Sting's son's own damn jersey. This man was reaching 50 Cent level of pettiness here. Angle listed all of the reasons why he attacked Sting's son and didn't want to hear any excuses coming from him. Then Karen interrupted. Now, this is one thing to mention. There was a bit of friction between these two, because once the episode aired, Karen said that couples have issues every once in a while or something along the lines of that. This was all because of Angle's actions. He slapped Sting's son. She responded saying that she knew what she was getting into the moment she left the kitchen. What the hell? Karen also admitted that Sting didn't slap her, but Angle was hard-headed. He was trying to force his belief. Sting interrupted, and he didn't give a damn about any of this and still held her responsible. He promised to bring the old Sting and also promised to take everything from Angle. Kevin Nash, meanwhile, wanted to talk with the Icon. The reason why he met up with him was to tell him not to go crazy. He's like, oh, it's not the right way to go out. He ended up responding, telling Nash to not lose his edge. Kurt once again turned into a stalker searching for Sting in the bathroom. He ended up opening the door on the wrong person. This was after Nash told him that he didn't want to get involved. At the end of the night, he called out his opponent. Angle wanted to do it then and there. Sting fooled Angle and came out in disguise, forcing him to tap out. So it's all come down to this. Bound for Glory, Atlanta, October 14th. The match was perceived as a dream match. Fans were deprived of a potential battle in 2002, and apparently Sting was going to be brought in for WrestleMania X8 to face Kurt Angle, but that never went down. Angle here, he was on a huge roll, and he was for sure TNA's Wrestler of the Year. You wouldn't really expect him to go all out after his departure in 2006, but lo and behold. Like, this man probably heard somebody else, such as this guy, call himself the best, and like MJ took it personally. Because it was far too much, and the craziest part was, this was only the beginning of his run. Okay, I already talked about the match in depth here. I'll do a quick loose one for this video though. Angle at the beginning struggled with the intense challenger. He didn't quite figure out how to suppress Sting's momentum. It took a rake in the eyes, and a couple of Germans actually take control. He slowly started wearing down Sting before the comeback. The match started getting really good. Angle hit a damn 450 splash, which was something he probably never did on a televised event. Overbooking comes into play. Nash gets attacked. Sting hits the death drop, and he's the new champion. He finally got retribution for his son, and the way he did it, well, it caused friction with Angle and Nash. You see, the ex-champion held Nash himself responsible for the loss at Bound for Glory. Angle even announced that he wanted a rematch tonight without Kevin Nash by his side. His wife started doubting him, and he went ballistic. A few minutes later, he's out there blaming Kevin Nash once again. Angle randomly shouted that he didn't know what NWO meant and claimed that he would tell Kevin that he would beat his ass. It didn't take long for him to come down to the ring. Suddenly, Kurt's hiding behind his wife for all of 2 seconds because he found enough confidence, started acting tough and whiny. Kevin admitted that the reason why he interfered was out of pity. He felt bad for Kurt. However, despite the animosity, he asked Angle to apologize. Angle responded, roasting the hell out of him, and he got angry with this and it turned into a brawl. Well, not really, because Kevin Nash dropped Kurt Angle with ease. He beat him up so bad that his ass started hurting. Matter of fact, he wanted to ease things as a result of this, and so he asked JB about Nash's interest. And he's like,
he likes porn.
Pick up a big stack of porn magazines.
Karen didn't understand any of this. Meanwhile, Big Daddy Cool was all in his feelings. He was pretty damn upset with all that went down and even said, if Kurt wants to find out if there's any diesel in the tank, I'm cool with that. As for Sting, a ceremony was held for the champions of Bound for Glory, and he was praised heavily for his performance. Sting spoke positively about Kurt, saying he pushed him to the limit, but in spite of all that, he still got it. Mike Tenay then asked the new champion about Angle's challenge, and he preferred to ask the fans, who were more than eager to see it. It seemed like the match was confirmed, but the man who made the challenge ended up nullifying it. He came out in a wheelchair. The reason why the match was called off was due to serious trauma to his spinal cord. He delayed the match for a week, and so Sting asked if his mother signed that no. And then said that Angle better bring that wheelchair next week because he's going to be crippled and he's going to need something to sit on. Angle, being the baby he is, questioned why Sting wouldn't turn the other cheek, and his wife reminded him of the son he slapped. A while later, he desperately chased after Kevin Nash.
I'll buy you porn!
But if you thought all of that was crazy, well, you ain't seen nothing yet. In an effort to have Kevin Nash by his side, Kurt Angle did a bunch of things. He sucked up to him, apologized for what he did, handed him a gift. All seemed good, but then Nash said he was going to stand at ringside to see Sting kick his ass. The champion in other places was in a trance. He was fully focused on the title match, and he asked Kurt, if somebody were to put their hands on one of your kids, what would you do? Angle, meanwhile, got so damn desperate to the point where he wanted his wife to get it on with Kevin Nash. This man, he had no limits at this point, and he would probably offer himself if it meant Kevin Nash was by his side. Borash believed that Kevin wasn't going to mind this. He was probably going to like it. And as angry as Karen looked initially, she thought of her paycheck and tried to do something about it. It turns out he didn't want none of this. He said, maybe 10 years ago. JB even thought something was off about this. Fast forward to the second hour, it was time for the title match. This was one of the biggest matches to have aired on Impact, so let's talk about it loosely. Pure Wrestling early on was Sting having a very slight advantage. He was actually out wrestling the challenger, and there was this low moment where Angle was fighting back, but Sting at a moment's notice seized the advantage. To make matters worse, Kevin Nash arrived, and after the commercial, Angle was intense. He was very effective on the attack with a belly-to-belly, and the match soon entered the final third, where they went back and forth. Nash took a right hand, and the look on his face, wow. In the ring, each man was countering tombstones, ankle locks, and Sting won this battle and locked Kurt in the Scorpion Deathlock. Nash decided to get involved, fans boo, ref gets knocked down, and Angle finally hits the Olympic Slam. 1, 2, 3, new champion. Honestly, I think Sting should have kicked out there, but whatever. This was a good little TV match. I enjoyed watching it here. The action itself was never dull. These two were finally reunited. All was good for only 2 seconds because Angle flipped him off and ran away. The referee started arguing. Jim Cornette, after a long time, resolved this by talking to them in the back. Kevin Nash barged into his office and demanded a matchup with the new champion. He said that if that didn't happen, he'll put Cornette's head right through a wall. Matt Morgan got offended like Cornette was his dad or something, but Jim assured Nash that he'll solve this issue. By night's end, he revealed that the decision stands with regards to the result of the title match. He also revealed that Kurt Angle must defend the title at Genesis. Not in a singles match, but in a tag team match. It was going to be Kevin Nash and Kurt Angle against Sting and his partner. Well, Sting didn't allow Cornette to finish the sentence. He promised that Kurt Angle won't be champion at Genesis. That's all. I don't get why they had to do a tag team match. I feel like it would have been better if they'd done a full-on fatal four-way with the mystery guy debuting or something like that. It definitely would have been better than what we got. But with that said, it's the road to Genesis now. I couldn't have skipped this episode, it's missing from Impact Plus, because it was filled with a bunch of stuff. Angle finally spoke about last week and whined about how it's essentially a 3-on-1 matchup. He didn't understand why the opponent wouldn't be revealed. Angle sucks chant intensifies and he calls them losers. The ex-champion heard enough of this, and so Angle informed him that he's a genius. So they watch CSI, Law and Order in 24, which means he can crack a case. Well, all of this meant was Angle was intelligent. Basically, it's one of the 3 I's, intensity, integrity, and intelligence. It also meant that he was going to solve this whole mystery partner thing tonight. Sting said that his partner is somebody who won titles in multiple promotions, even WWE, and this man hates Angle because he rubbed him the wrong way. He delusionally shouted, "Everybody loves me." Nash on the other side appeared and refuted that claim, and he told Angle not to worry about Sting, but his own damn partner. The champion though wanted to fight, so Nash, calm and composed, walked into the ring. Kurt ran away though, only to walk into Sting. They took turns giving him a beating before he ran away. Kurt Angle wasn't the only one who wanted to know who the partner was, because Kevin Nash made a few phone calls himself. Angle was out here interrogating the likes of Jay Lethal, Chris Harris, who ended up interrogating Angle himself, and so he shouts, "You wasted my life!" He got Kip James real angry and tried to make it seem like there was a problem with him. They mentioned his dad, he started crying, and I thought these segments were hilarious. Nash, meanwhile, finally learned who it was, and he told Angle at the end of the night. It was Scott Hall, and it was revealed that he was coming next week. About that, Kurt Angle blamed Kevin Nash over this. He attributed this to possibly abandoning his old friend, and he didn't know. They argued over this once again, so Karen shut them up and told him that she's going to deal with it. Her way of dealing with it, well, it's something Angle had suggested she do in the past. However, Hall told her there's no such thing as trust and technically called her a ring rat. A few seconds later, she informed JB that there's an appointment, and it's in the men's room. After a while, Kurt questioned her whereabouts, and JB was snitching. Angle's like, in the men's room, and as a result of all of this, he called out Scott Hall. After he failed to appear, Angle decided to go to the back and confront him. The champion told him to stay out of his business, but after Hall no-sold everything, Angle made a joke out of himself. Also, one thing I noticed the entire time during this episode is that Scott Hall never outright said he was the mystery partner. He had a friendly conversation with his old buddy and straight up said, "I'm not Sting's partner," and obviously the paranoid baby had a huge issue with this. Sting opted to randomly come down and just stare at Angle to end the show. Okay, I think everybody at the time had an idea of who it was. It was obvious as day due to the fact that this person had just been released from WWE and was looking for a place to compete. It's as simple as that. Before the match could even begin, those two had huge issues. There was somebody in the limo, and Angle in particular was so damn desperate to find out. It was eating him up inside. This man was too much. He was absolutely hilarious here. He's shouting, he's whining like a crybaby. I thought it was funny. About the match itself, yeah, it's not memorable barring the mystery partner. Sting praised him heavily inside and outside the ring, and after an entrance introduction longer than Hollywood Rocks, it was the debuting Booker T. Commentary went wild. Kurt Angle was pissing himself, and clearly the complexion of the match changed greatly as a result of this. During the match, the fans were craving Booker T. It took a while for him, but once he entered, Kurt Angle sprinted out of there. Back in the ring, Booker T was all over him, and the champion needed Nash's help to take control. Each guy got involved, leading to the heels isolating Booker T. They had some problems, of course, due to the stipulation, and the match started to kick up upon Booker's hot tag. He hit the axe kick, and I don't know why, but the ref counted that fall. Angle's illegal, man. Nash hits the jackknife. There's a scorpion death drop from Sting, and all of a sudden, AJ Styles and Tom Cole made a random appearance and left Sting laying. To top it all off, Charmel was here. She battled it out with Karen, and back in the ring, Angle blasted his own partner with the title before hitting the Olympic slam on Sting. He forced the ref in and went for the cover. 1, 2, 3. Once again, Sting should have kicked out there. It took Kurt Angle a very long time to actually get the cover going. Should have kicked out. And not the best match. It's honestly pretty forgettable, barring Booker T's return. He wasn't at his best here because, well, ring rust. As I said earlier, I think it would have been better had they done a full-on Fatal 4-Way because Kevin Nash hated Kurt Angle here. As that Sting wanted his belt back, I think it makes sense if they done a Fatal 4-Way. Alright, so I'm going to end the video here. I would continue, but I want to finish the Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle story all in another video. We'll finish that, and then we'll do Main Event Mafia, I feel. There's the Angle Alliance, the wedding, all that. Then the Main Event Mafia. I am hyped for that one in the future. And with regards to this, well, it was a Kurt Angle show. If you liked Kurt Angle, you were going to love it. But if you hated him, well, that's a different story. He was all over the show. He was in a bunch of segments, even more so than anybody, including Kevin Nash, Samoa Joe, all of them. He was on the show more than anybody. This feud in particular, I didn't like the way they wrapped up the Sting and Kurt Angle feud. I think they should have done something more grand. Because after this, they just went their separate ways like nothing happened. When you look at it at face value, you're like, oh, this is supposed to be an intense feud. It was in the beginning, but as time went on, it just faded into comedy. If you don't like comedy stuff, I don't think you're going to like this feud in particular. And as I said, if you're looking for an intense blood feud, it was initially that. But then they strayed away from it in favor of doing some random stuff with Kurt Angle and his wife backstage or whatever. And if we look at it like that, yeah, it's kind of a disappointment. If you love Kurt Angle, though, like I do, you're going to enjoy this story because of all the antics backstage and all that, because he was hilarious. He was always the funniest guy in these segments. He'd be whining, be saying some stuff, and his facial reactions as well. But yes, overall as a feud, if you were looking at Kurt Angle and Sting, I'm going to be honest, I didn't think it's a good feud outright. I didn't think it's amazing or out of this world or anything like that, because of the fact that they strayed away from the whole intense blood feud-esque feud that they had in the beginning. Had they continued doing that, yes, this would be talked about more. I don't even hear much talk about it, honestly. That's what I think about this feud. Had it been more intense, had it been more violent, it would be much better than it was. But don't get it wrong. I love the comedy segments that Kurt Angle was in. They were so damn entertaining. It showed just how talented he was. My favorite match in the feud was, of course, Bound for Glory 2007. Nothing's going to beat that. Favorite segment? Well, it's hard to say. I love the interrogation angle segments. Like, those were absolutely hilarious. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. Those are my favorite segments. They're just funny. Alright, what'd you guys think of Kurt Angle and Sting's feud? Please comment down below. And that's it for this video. Make sure you hit the Scorpion Death Drop on the like button and perhaps the Olympic Slam on the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.